I've been quite often asked about my career story or my career history, and people they want a little bit more information than what is written on my CV. And here I am narrating my career history story in this video for whoever interested to know about my professional progression in life. The story began when I was in high school in 1978 to 1981. I was nerdy, quite bookworm. I love to read, and I was one of the top people in my class, and I was very interested in science and mathematics, especially mathematics. In fact, I was planning to be a mathematician throughout my life. And in fact, that's when I graduated from high school. I joined one or two semesters at King Abdulaziz University, and wanted to major in mathematics. At early stage of my life, I was rebellious, I was restless, I wanted to see what is way outside of my own comfort zone. And that has been carried to me throughout my life. Always I'm looking for beyond my comfort zone. I couldn't continue studying at King Abdulaziz University, so I dropped out, and then I applied for a job in the university, and I was like a secretary at public relations office. And whenever people they see me every day going to the university, what are you doing there? I say I'm studying, but I'm not really studying. My plan is to save my salaries, and that was like almost like 2,600 or 500 something, so 2,600 rials, almost like 400, 500 US dollars. And I was saving that money because I was determined that I will go to the United States and finish my degree. And I was applying to different colleges and universities in the U.S. And also at that time, my English was not really that good. So I was reading, forcing myself to learn English, and because my plan is, when I go to the United States, I don't want to study English language. I wanted to immediately jump into the academic career without really spending time on learning English. So when I saved around exactly 23,000 US dollars, I got accepted to a community college in Wyoming. Wyoming is out of the country. Nobody would go there for foreign students like me, but because I have a limited amount of money, and I wanted to go to a community college with accredited, approved, but I wanted to pursue my first degree over there, and then I moved to a bigger university. I was planning again to continue my career in mathematics, because I felt that I want to be a mathematician, and I wanted to live my life as a mathematician. But lo and behold, when I went to community college and I took electives in different fields, and I took electives in sociology and psychology, I realized that my heart is in psychology. And the American psychology, they combine statistical analysis and mathematical formula modeling to understand the human behavior. And I love mathematics, and the American psychology, and it is mathematical solid foundation made me just jump from mathematics into psychology. So I got specialized and majored in psychology, and I got my degrees from Oregon, and then from North Dakota State University, for a master's degree in social psychology. And also I wanted to take a degree in English literature, because in the back of my mind, at that time, psychology is not really important degree in Saudi Arabia. So I wanted to support my credentials by having a degree in English literature. And I was good in I like to read novels and stories, and my English writing is really, really, really good. So I wanted just to have academic credential by having a degree in English literature. And that's what I got. So I got degrees in English literature, psychology, anthropology, and sociology. And after finishing all these degrees, I wanted to pursue an academic career in American universities, where I used to be a student. So I was hired as an adjunct professor at Morehead State University and North Dakota State University in Minnesota and North Dakota. Adjunct professor is a fancy title for a part-time college teacher or college professor. And I was teaching courses related to sociology, social psychology, with the focus on the Middle Eastern studies. I enjoyed what I'm doing, but I didn't feel that the academic career really is my best choice. Even though I applied for my PhD and I got accepted in Utah State University, but by that time I was staying in the United States for 10 years without going back to Saudi Arabia, except for 1 week where my sister got married and I went to attend her wedding. For 10 years I was doing studying and teaching in the United States of America. So I decided to go back to Saudi Arabia, and because when I was a student, I was really working at university, first in the library, in the cafeteria, then as a teaching assistant, and then adjunct professor. And it was very, very hard for me because I was supporting myself. I didn't have any scholarship and from the government, and I was studying really hard so I can get good degrees and one good grades. And usually American universities, if you get good grades, then they will give you a reduction of tuition for the next semester. And I was also working. It's a lot of effort on my part. So I went back to Saudi Arabia, and the first job I got in a clinical setting, it was a drug rehabilitation center in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I was hired like a social worker, psychologist, in that field, and I didn't feel comfortable because the readjustment from the American environment, work environment, academic environment to Saudi environment at that time is really huge difference for me, and I couldn't continue in that hospital, and I dropped out, and I was looking for another job in psychology field. So I got hired by consultancy company called SHL, Saville and Holdsworth Limited, through their agent in Saudi Arabia, and I got hired as on the mission of designing psychometric instruments in Arabic, because I am bilingual psychologist, and also I have a degree in English literature. For God's sake. And I worked in London for almost 3 years, designing personality questionnaires, ability tests, training Middle Eastern professionals on how to conduct these instruments and other psychometric instruments throughout the Middle East region. I conducted many workshops in Dubai, in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia, for in different industries, in the oil industry, banking industry, and various kinds of industries in that field. I was just a flying consultant going from one place to another. So my academic career was like a officer in public relations office in King Abdulaziz University, then adjunct professor in 2 American universities, then clinical setting in drug rehabilitation center, and then I jumped into occupational psychology with a reputable, very well established Saville and Holdsworth Limited SHL organization out of south of London, Thames Ditton. And I was flying consultant, flying all over the Middle East and UK, delivering courses, training courses, training people, consultation for as just like a consultant, typical consultant in human resources and psychology field. Then I got offered a job in a Saudi bank, and that bank is affiliated with the international banking group, and my job at that time was is to establish assessment centers, implement the psychometric approach into recruitment and graduate development, the graduate programs into that banking. And I got a huge support from my direct supervisor and manager at that time, Mr. Sulaiman Al-Hamdan, whom I owe him a great deal for the last almost 30 years of my life in different areas, as we can see now. So the challenge was for me is to bring all the cutting edge HR technologies from HSBC to adapt it into Saudi local environment and establish the psychometrics, the assessment center approach into the recruitment, and eventually I realized that I must expand my career. it's not only just a resident psychologist in a banking setting. So I got into the human resources. And it is so funny that I was the policy maker, making, adopting, does designing policies, and then I went to the other end of the HR, whereby I become the HR practitioner. So I was criticizing the things I used to do and design as a, because once you are in the field, it is totally different than when you design things. So, but my psychology came into when I was like a head of HR for the Western region in this bank, that I used to go to each branch and I do profiling for each and every staff. And usually HR managers don't do these things. So my psychology also came out of this to help me in doing profiling. And that was greatly appreciated by the line manager and the business owners for giving them reports, complete report on each and every staff I meet. And we are talking about like 800 staff. And for me, that's the element. I always put the special personal touch I do. I don't follow procedures. Well, I follow them, but I improvise. I do a little bit extra to make things better and unique. My own personal signature on things. And it is greatly appreciated by others and also criticized by all timers. So after spending around 19 years in the banking industry, in HR, human resources, doing the business partner, training and development, recruitment, and I gained a huge experience in HR management, either strategic level or operational level, and I was told it is time to part company, and I was given a golden check because I become so experienced. So it was amicable departure from the bank, and I decided to settle in Europe and live my life for retirement in Europe, particularly in Prague, Czech Republic. When I was in Prague, I wanted to establish like business, even though I'm not really good at business. Then my old boss, Suleiman Al-Hamdan, became the president of aviation authority in Saudi Arabia, and he invited me to join his team to also to introduce assessment centers and to establish and update HR practices within the aviation authority. And I was extremely happy to come back again after deciding to settle in Europe, to come back and help the aviation authority. Then when he moved to as a Minister of Transportation, I also become involved in that ministry, and eventually when he became the Minister of Civil Service, also I joined him. And Ministry of Civil Service is the ministry where it's like the HR for Saudi ministries, so HR department for all, and I got involved in mega projects in upgrading HR departments in different ministries, of course, with others. Not only me, and I was just a member of many talented, bright individuals, and it was very exciting time. Then I got relieved from my position because the civil service ministry combined with the Ministry of Labor, which was, it was our final project, and I got relieved from my position, and that was at the beginning of Corona time. It was like in 2021 March, I guess, and during my Corona time, I moved back to Jeddah. I could not travel back to Europe. I cannot travel anywhere in the world. So I wanted to be useful. So I approached charity organizations in Jeddah. I sent messages from them, and I said, I have experience in psychology, counseling psychology, and also I have experience in human resources. And if you would like to get my services free of charge, I am most welcome to help you. Some organizations responded, and I was helping them as like a consultant and an advisor. Other organizations ignored me or ignored my, or they apologized. Also I was doing counseling services on individual level for free of charge. By this time I got retired, and I have my own pension, and I have my own investments, and I don't really work for money anymore. Not because I don't want money, no, but I have enough for me and for my family. So I want to give back to the society without consideration for monetary rewards. And that's what I am doing right now. In also some organizations, they insisted to give me some money for my services, for my advisory services, which is fine. But my passion right now is traveling. I've been traveling throughout the world in different countries. I have been to more than 75 countries in the world. And also I developed like video blogs into my hobbies, and I enjoy doing this, plus doing the counseling services for whoever interested to get my support and services, and advisory services for companies. And that's what I am doing for my retirement, and it is very fulfilling career, challenging, but I don't recommend retirement for anyone. You have to find yourself, find something to keep yourself busy in retirement, because just sitting home doing nothing is not good for you at all. And in fact, I'm recording this video here in Kuala Lumpur, and it was raining. In fact, it is still raining now a great deal, while I am talking about my career history and my story. Thank you for listening, and I hope this proves to be somewhat useful for anyone.